Hi, this is Jamie Arenthal. Welcome to your vinyasa yoga class. Please remember to use any props, modifications, any help that you need to help make the poses fit your body and not the other way around. Here we go. So let's begin in a seated position. We can use a block if that's comfortable for you. And remember, if sitting cross-legged does not work for you, change it up, right? Modify it. If you are seated flat on the floor, go ahead and use your hands to move the flesh of the buttocks out from underneath you so that you can connect your sit bones to that block or the mat. Go ahead and circle your shoulders forward, lift them up, bring them back, and release them down behind you. If that feels good, you can do that again. Just opening up through the heart center and then releasing. You can place your hands, palms facing down for a little bit more grounding, or turn the palms up for a little bit more openness, the ability to receive. We can begin with breathing. Close your eyes. Sit up nice and tall, stacking one vertebra over the next. And gently drop your chin just a little bit so you can lengthen the wrinkles out of the back of your neck. Soften your face. Relax your shoulders. Breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the nose. We can try 3-part breath, Dirga Pranayam. So if you like, you could place one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest. Exhale everything out. Inhale first into your belly, next into your rib cage, and last all the way up to your collarbones. And then exhale from the top down. So collarbones, belly, chest, belly. I was distracted. Max is coming into the picture. Pardon me. So inhale, belly, rib cage, collarbones. Exhale, collarbones, rib cage, and belly. Continue on your own. Inhale, 1, belly, 2, ribs, 3, collarbones. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Eyes remaining closed so your awareness is within at your own speed. And at any time, you could replace the hands on your knees. You can feel free to exaggerate this breath a little bit. The term for this forced breathing or this intentional breath is pranayam, which literally translates to breath constraint. So imagine that as you're inhaling all the way up to the collarbones, you're sipping that last little bit of air. And as you're exhaling everything out, you're narrowing the rib cage and hollowing the belly, drawing your belly button towards your spine. A few more big 3-part breaths, just like that. When you're ready, return to your normal breath, still breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Just allowing that focus on your breath to quiet your mind. You can use this technique anytime you desire, just to reconnect your mind to your body. And then keeping your eyes closed, bring your hands to a prayer at your heart, nestling thumbs up against your sternum. Set your intention for your yoga practice today. If nothing comes to mind, you can always use ahimsa, which is Sanskrit for nonviolence or do no harm. Ahimsa is one of the Yogi 10 Commandments, aligning very much with the Judeo-Christian 10 Commandments. So do no harm. And what that means in our yoga practice is to have self-compassion, to be kind, to use words that help you as opposed to criticize you. I think of it as my own BFF, and what she would say to me as I progress through my yoga poses, through my practice. Things like, you're doing a great job. I'm so proud of you. Keep it going. Look at you. Go ahead and float your eyes open. You can inhale your prayer hands up to the sky. And as you exhale, bow over to that right side. So anchoring those right fingertips, letting that elbow bend, letting the ear drop toward your shoulder. And then inhaling, coming back up to center. And exhaling, centering breath at your heart. Deep breath in, reach up tall. And exhaling this time to the left side, anchoring your fingers and bowing over. Let your head go. Inhaling back to center, palms together. And exhale, centering breath at your heart. Repeating that. Deep breath in. Right side stretch. Inhale, center. Exhale to your heart. Deep breath in. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale to heart. Beautiful. Let's come over to all fours on the mat. So removing your blocks. And I'll just turn sideways so you can see me. Make sure your hands are shoulder width apart, directly under your shoulders, and knees are hip width apart. As you exhale, pull your belly button in, chin to chest, tuck your tail, cat pose. And as you inhale, drop the belly, lift the tail, lift your gaze, let your heart shine forward. Continuing at your own pace. So exhaling, cat pose, inhaling, cow pose. And for those of you who want a little bit more, you could curl the toes under as you inhale, just making it a little juicier. And then pressing the tops of your feet and shins to the floor as you exhale. And one more thing you can add on are the bandhas, the locks. So as you exhale, it's Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, Jalandhara Bandha, and then release them all. And all that means is you're creating tension. Root lock at the base, at the perineum. Belly button is sucked in towards your spine and chin glued to your chest. And then release those locks. So if you exhale everything out, you're just creating the locks with those three bandhas. And then be sure to release them as you inhale. Last time like this. And then coming into a neutral spine, so tabletop position. So we'll start off by reaching the left foot behind us, toes on the floor, and you can rock forward and back, right? And just stretching the bottom of the foot. And we'll turn this into a spinal balance. So come back with shoulders over those wrists, flex the left foot, and just raise that heel to hip height. So one long line from that heel to the crown of the head. And then if you'd like to make this more challenging, you can always reach that right arm out. Just turn the thumb up to the sky. So we're plugging that shoulder back into its socket. And just notice whatever sensations you're feeling in your belly as your core muscles try and stabilize you here. Again, if this is too much, you can always put a hand down or you can put your toe back on the floor. And if you want more, you can always lift that right toe off the floor and just notice how that makes you a little less stable. So those core muscles have to kick in. And please continue to breathe and be kind to yourself. And then all fours down. And you can cat-cow here just to release your spine. And we'll try the other side. So back to tabletop. This time extend the right leg behind you, toes on the floor, and then you can rock back and forth. And just hopefully that feels good to you. Feels good to me, stretching that calf and the Achilles tendon in a gentle, controlled way. And then bring those shoulders back over the wrists, flex your right foot, and just raise that right heel to hip height. Notice no wrinkles in the back of your neck. There's nothing to look at, so just allow your nose to point down toward the floor, keeping those hips level. And then if you want more challenge, left arm reaches out, thumb points toward the sky, one long line from that heel to the fingertips. You can make it easier by putting the toe down or putting the hand down, and you can make it harder by lifting that left toe off the floor. Keep breathing. And then all fours down. Just a quick cat-cow to release that spine. And then we'll turn this into a flow. So one movement per breath. So coming back to that tabletop, extend the left heel, extend the right arm, take an inhalation, elongate here. And as you exhale, all fours down. Right heel, left hand, inhale to elongate, and exhale to ground back to tabletop. Continuing at your own pace, using the inhalations to stretch and lengthen, using the exhalations to ground and possibly contract. Go ahead, reaching out. And remember, you can use those same modifications we did in that static spinal balance. So you could just do this with your legs, you could just do this with your arms, and you could make it harder by lifting that bottom toe off the floor with each round. And keep in mind that we're just trying to bring everything to hip height, right? You don't need to arch your back here and, flex and extend your lumbar spine, right? We want to keep steady, spinal balance. Okay, so one more time on each side. And then we can come back to all fours. One last cat-cow. Beautiful. And then go ahead and sit back on your heels, walk your fingers out in front of you and lower the head. If this is uncomfortable for you, the alternative pose is puppy pose, which is halfway between down dog and child's pose. You could curl the toes, walk the hands out a little further, and just let your head come between your ears. So sometimes this is a little kinder and gentler to those knees. Whichever pose you've chosen, keep the hands outstretched, and you can walk those fingers over to your right side. So it's that side bend again, but feeling that length through left side body, but go ahead and straighten your elbows here and lower your head between your arms. The head does not need to touch the floor, and the hips might shift over to the left. And if you want to make this even deeper, you can take your left hand and place it on top of your right hand. Right? That'll just make it a little bit stronger, but do what feels right. And then walk your hands back through center and bring them over to your left side. Again, the hips might shift to the right, elbows straight, and then lower your head wherever that is for you. Make it more intense if you want by walking right hand onto the top of the left hand. And then back to center. Let's come up to all fours. Walk your hands back under your shoulders. Let's just take a twist here. So hands are grounded. Reach that right arm up to the sky and then lace or thread the right hand underneath, right? Knuckles down, palm faces up, and you could just touch the head and shoulder to the mat. It's called thread the needle. And then inhale, press down with the left arm, reach that right arm up to the sky and repeat it. Exhale. So as you're exhaling, you're pulling your belly button in to deepen the twist. As you're inhaling, you're lengthening and expanding. Beautiful. One more time, reaching through, threading the needle, and then inhaling, coming back up, and then release that right hand back down. Let's try this on the other side. So left arm up, inhale, expand, and then thread the needle, knuckles down, reaching through, touch that shoulder, maybe the temple, left temple, and then press down with your right hand. Inhale to elongate, expand, and exhale to contract, pulling that belly button in. Inhale, reaching up, and exhale, reaching through, and then back up. Inhale, and place the fingers down. Cat-cow, again, just to release any tension in the spine. Good. And then curl the toes under. Make sure hands are shoulder width apart, fingers spread, and lift up to downward facing dog. So we'll begin by pedaling those heels in downward dog. Shake your head no, shake your head yes. And then one baby step at a time, walk your feet up towards your hands. You can keep your knees soft here, right? Just allow the upper body to drape over your legs like a rag doll. Walk your hands up your legs. You can straighten your legs, look forward. So this is Ardha Uttanasana or flat back, but to me, it's really very much like cow pose, right? I'm lifting my heart up. I'm shrugging the shoulders back behind me. And then as I exhale, I pull my belly button in and round over for Uttanasana. Again, so bent knees are totally acceptable here. Inhale, arching that back. So it's really just more that cat-cow, isn't it? In a standing position. It's flexion and extensions. And then exhale. So one last time. Inhale, flat back, extend your spine, and then reach those arms out to the side. Coming up, reversing that swan dive and bringing your hands to your heart. Let's release the hands by our sides, Tadasana. Circle those shoulders up, back, and down. Palms face forward. Feet are parallel and hip width apart. If you like, you can lift the toes and spread them out. And then imagine your arches, right? I always do this with my hands when I say arch the feet, but imagine like you're lifting up on your arches and you're creating like a suction cup to the earth. And then what happens as well is we're lifting our kneecaps up just a little bit. And if you like, you could use root lock, Mula Bandha, right? For women, it's like stopping the flow of urine. You can always use that. That helps to stabilize your pelvis. And then lifting that heart up and spreading those collarbones wide. Keep that chin level, no wrinkles on the back of your neck. This is Tadasana, mountain pose. And we'll be coming back to this pose with each of our vinyasas right now, each of our sun salutations. Keep in mind that during our sun salutations, feel free to omit the chaturanga, right? Do what's right for you. I'll turn sideways. Inhaling, reaching up. As you exhale, swan dive over, hinging at the hip. Inhale, flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Right foot steps back. Anjaneyasana, high lunge. Should you need to modify, the right knee could be on the floor. Exhale, hands down. Step back, downward facing dog. Roll up to your tippy toes, inhale forward to a plank. Let's modify this vinyasa to start. Exhale, lower knees, chin and chest. Inhale onto your belly, baby cobra. Elbows are bent and pressed in toward the rib cage. Exhale, lowering chin or forehead, coming through child's pose, bending the knees, curling toes, downward facing dog. So that's a gentler, modified vinyasa, and feel free to use that or your own variation throughout our practice today. Inhale the right leg up, flex your right foot. This is one leg dog. So you could tell that the hips are level. If you look under and you see your toes pointing down. As you exhale, bring that right knee forward so that your shoulders are over the wrists and you're hugging that knee into your belly. And then inhale that right leg up. Again, we're continuing in that cat-cow mode. As you exhale, this is a little bit of cat, right? We're rounding and then send that heel up. One more time. And this time, as you come forward, step that right foot. Always feel free to use your right hand if that makes things easier for you. And we'll take a twist. Right arm up to the sky. Left knee could be on the floor. And then exhale the right hand down, step forward, coming to forward fold. Uttanasana, knees can still be soft. Coming halfway up, inhale and reverse swan dive. Palms touch. Exhale, centering breath at the heart and returning to Tadasana. Inhale, reach up. Swan dive over. Take up lots of space here, hinging at the hip, lower your head. Inhale, coming halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale to fold, nose to knees. Step that left foot back, coming into the lunge. Inhaling, high lunge, Anjaneyasana. Modify as needed. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Tippy toes, inhale to plank. Exhale, knees, chin, chest. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, child's pose. Downward facing dog. Left leg up, flex the left foot, look under, make sure left toes point down, one leg dog. And then exhale, coming forward, shoulders over wrists, knee to belly, and inhale that left heel up high. Exhale, knee to belly, shoulders over wrists, and inhale, one leg dog. And last time, exhale that knee forward, hug your belly in, and step that left foot forward. Right hand down, left arm up, twist. Left hand comes down, exhale the right foot forward, forward fold. Halfway up, inhale, reverse swan dive. Exhale, centering breath at the heart. And then release the hands, Tadasana. So moving on here. You could bring your big toes to touch if that feels good to you. I like to keep my feet hip distance apart, but do what you like best. Awkward chair pose. Bend the knees, circle arms by ears. Utkatasana. As you exhale, swan dive over. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Now, for some of us, we have a jump back into our vinyasa. You do not need to do that. You can bend your knees, hands to the floor, step one foot back, and then the other. Now, if you like knees, chin, and chest, otherwise, chaturanga, elbows in by the hips. Inhale onto the tops of your feet, upward facing dog, straight legs. Exhale back to downward facing dog. Optional. That right leg up. This time, open the right hip over the left, down dog split. For those of you who like, you can bend that right knee just for a little bit more hip flexor stretch. And exhale the right foot forward between your hands. Come to the fingertips. Lower the left heel down on a 45-degree angle, and then come halfway up. reaching those arms behind you. Engage your core. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, chaturanga, or meet us in downward facing dog. So any variation you like, or none at all. Left leg lifts, open the hip, down dog split. You could bend that knee. As you exhale, left foot comes forward. Fingertips on the floor. Lower the right heel down on a 45-degree angle, halfway up. Sweep those arms up, warrior one. And exhale, coming through your vinyasa or straight to downward facing dog. Take 5 breaths in downward dog. You could modify here, child's pose if that's more appropriate. When you're ready, bend your knees, look forward between your hands, and either hop or step. As many steps as it takes. And then inhale, flat back, and exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees, circle the arms by your ears, Utkatasana. And as you exhale, stand to Tadasana. Let's repeat that. Inhale, chair. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, your journey back. Downward facing dog. Right leg up. Warrior one. Exhale for your vinyasa. From downward dog, left leg up. Warrior one. And exhale for your vinyasa. Downward facing dog. 5 breaths, or modify as needed. When you're ready, look forward between your thumbs, step, or hop. Come to a flat back and exhale to fold. Knees bend, chair pose. Exhale to stand, Tadasana. One more time like that. Chair pose, Utkatasana. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Vinyasa. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Virabhadrasana 1 on the right. Vinyasa. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Virabhadrasana on the left. Vinyasa. Five breaths. in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Your journey forward. Utkatasana, chair pose. Tadasana, standing pose. Beautiful. Practicing standing balance pose. So I always like to have my chair nearby, but feel free. Also, sometimes our mats are too cushiony and we're better off practicing our standing balances on the hard floor. So adjust as needed. And I'll mirror you. So standing on the right leg, let's lift the left leg up. You could hold on beneath that thigh. Just remember to keep your spine in neutral. Our tendency here is to kind of flatten out. We want to keep that spine neutral. And if you want more challenge, float the arms up. And if you still want more challenge, you can extend that leg straight out. Try and find an unmoving spot to gaze at. Then bring your hands down. You can start to extend that left leg behind you, coming into warrior three. So just some variations. Your warrior three could be here, holding on. Also, if you recall, we just did that sort of half lift for our Virabhadrasana, the warrior one. So your warrior three could be here with that left toe connected, that heart lifting. And then at some point, maybe you'll start to float that toe up. Other variations here, you can bring those arms out to the sides, airplane arms. Let's turn this into a twist. So bend that right knee, carefully step back. You're in a high lunge. So the right foot is forward, the left foot is back. Couple of ways we can do this. We can bring the hands to our hearts, turn toward our right. So maybe that's as much of the twist as you'd like right here. Other variations, hook the left elbow over that right knee and press down into that hand, into the left hand with the right. Just an option. And then maybe some of you will spread your wings. So just connect the left fingers to the floor and lift that right arm up. Remember that the easier way to do this is just take that left hand straight to the floor on the inside of that right leg. So any variation here works. And I want to point out, we were talking about side crow. This is the beginning of side crow. This left elbow hooked over this knee. So you're halfway there. And then bring those hands back. Optional vinyasa. So should you want it, otherwise, we can meet you in downward facing dog. And when you're ready, walk forward or hop. Reverse the swan dive, coming all the way up. And exhaling that prayer to your heart. We'll do the other side. So again, same thing holds true here. If you want to be on the floor, if you want to hold on. So we're going to begin by standing on the left leg. Right knee lifts. Hold on beneath that leg. If you want a little bit more, release your hands up, and you want even more, straighten the leg. If that straightening of the leg causes your back to round or even flatten out, then bend the knee again. And that's usually just a hamstring issue, like your hamstrings just aren't lengthened enough for the pose right now. Maybe it's something you can even try later. And then when you're ready, you can start to walk that right leg back behind you for warrior three. So here's what we're looking at. Warrior three. I'm standing on my left foot. My right foot is raised, and you could hold on. Totally acceptable. Should you want to do this on your own volition, you're bringing those shoulder blades behind you. The right toe is connected. This is warrior three. It's just on the simpler side of the continuum. And then if you want to balance, you could flex that right foot and just start to bring yourself parallel with the floor. Notice there's no bend in that right hip crease. Maybe the arms come out to the side for a more balanced airplane arm, Virabhadrasana 3. Just trying to find something nice to gaze at, keeping your breath steady, your gaze connected. And then we can take this into a twist. So bend that front leg, step the right leg back, find that high lunge, Anjaneyasana. And then again, we have those options here. Bring the hands to your heart and simply turn the torso over to that left side. Maybe extend those arms, and this is you, this is your twist. If you want a little bit more, hook the right elbow outside that left thigh and take your left hand and press it down on the right to spin your heart up. Other variations, spreading your wings, or make it simple and just place that right hand on the floor inside the leg. Again, this is a half of our side crow, which we may or may not see later. Lips are closed, breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. Belly button is in. And then to come out of the pose, hands come down. You could go through your vinyasa. Coming up to stand. And exhale, prayer to heart. And release. Beautiful. So let's work our way into a few more twists. Let's step the right leg back, turn the heel down, find that warrior one. Open those arms for warrior two. Palm opens, tip it back, peaceful warrior. And then a side angle pose. So bringing that left forearm onto that left thigh. I like to touch pointer to thumb, chin mudra. And then I also like to walk the right heel a little bit further behind me. It gives me a little bit more freedom in my hip. Right arm straight up. Side angle pose. So you can move your left ribs forward and your right ribs back, just creating more of that lateral move. And then option to extend your side angle. Tuck your chin a little bit, look toward that right armpit or upper arm. For those of you who have a bind in your practice, you can do that as well. So the palm faces away, we reach those right fingers on top of that left thigh. So that's a half bind if you wanted it, or full, practicing that. Again, binds are simply to deepen the pose. And if you find that they compromise the pose in any way, then just take a step back and go back to where you were just before. And then you can release. Oops. And then cartwheel those hands down to the floor, rock onto the ball of that right foot and step the right foot in. Good. You can use your blocks here if you have them handy. So you, for this pyramid pose, right, you could place the blocks right under the shoulders, kind of on either side of the foot. Take a deep breath in, lengthen your spine, and then as you exhale, pour yourself over those legs. Maybe you get to turn those blocks down a notch or two. Think about pulling back on that left hip crease, right? So we want to square out those hips. Come on up to your fingertips. Good. And then bending that left knee, you can bring your blocks with you, bring them to the front corners of your mat and come to a supported warrior three. You're flexing that right foot, right? And right toes pointing down. And then if you would like to turn this into a twist, we have two options here. Keeping the right hand on the right block, lift your left arm up to the sky. So that's one option. If that's just not happening for you, walk those blocks back, plant that right heel, still using that right block, and lift that left arm up to the sky. So one is, this is a twisting triangle or Utthita Trikonasana. This other version is a twisting half moon, right? So you get to decide, Utthita Ardha Chandrasana. And when you're ready, you can step back. And again, if you want, there's always a vinyasa. This time, lift that right leg up, send it forward, left heel down, warrior one. So we'll repeat that on the other side. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, peaceful warrior. And then bringing that right forearm onto that right thigh. I like to touch pointer to thumb in Jana Mudra. And I also like to move my left foot back a bit just to give a little bit more room. And then reach that left arm up to the sky, gazing up, this side angle pose. Move your right ribs forward and your left rib back. If you'd like to extend, left elbow by left ear. One long line from left heel to left fingertips. Really straighten out that left elbow. Just notice the difference. You know, when we started out doing those side bends, I suggested you bend the elbow, but now really snap that arm into left. And don't worry about overextending. There's no weight on that hand. So it's a perfect opportunity to stretch all that fascia that connects the muscles to one another. And then for those of you who like that bind, palm away, reach that left hand on top of that right thigh, gently tucking your chin and looking toward that left armpit. Maybe you'll go for that full bind. It's up to you. Keeping breath smooth, even, continuous. When you're ready to release, hands come down either side of that right foot, swivel onto the ball of that left foot, step closer. Again, use blocks to make things easier. Draw that right hip crease back. And then as you exhale, pour yourself over that right leg. If any of this doesn't feel good for you, you can always soften the knees. You could shorten the stance. You could raise the blocks. You could even be here. Yeah. And then coming back to your fingertips. You could use your blocks, walk your blocks out to the front corners of your mat, softening that right knee and floating the left leg up for a supported warrior 3. Remember, you can stay here. You can add a twist. Left hand stays on the block. Right arm lifts up. And this is not good for you. If it's not, go ahead, come back to that pyramid pose and twist from here. So both feet grounded. Great. So we've got one more thing I'd like to try with you. And again, if it's not for you, I'm going to show you an alternative. So again, if you wanted that vinyasa, you could go ahead and add that in. Otherwise, you're stepping the left foot forward and we're gonna kind of sit on our heels. I'm gonna show you a side crow. So many of you are familiar with the front crow, hands in chaturanga in front of you, right? And then we balance on our elbows, basically. But this time I want you to walk your hands around to your right side. Hands flat on the floor, like chaturanga hands. And you're gonna connect the right elbow to the right hip and the left outer knee to the right outer knee to the left elbow. And then you create a shelf with your arms. And then see if you can maybe start to balance. Let's see if I could do this from another direction so you could see. Elbows connected, gazing at the floor. Just start to wobble. Maybe you'll wobble. Maybe the head will touch the floor. It's okay. The alternative here, right? You could be seated, cross that right leg over, and turn. So it's a half Maharishi, either with the left leg straight or bent. So there's always an option here. Yeah. So for those of you trying side crow, you're going to come back to center, straighten the legs, and bow. And then we'll come to the other side. So bend the knees. You're going to kind of balance, right? Walk the hands around to your left. Chaturanga hands. Glue the right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Glue the left elbow to the left hip. Glue your knees together, right? That's going to make things a lot easier. Stay connected, and then maybe you'll float. I'm not sure what you can see here. So the elbows have to be connected, right? And maybe you'll float. And maybe you won't. You get to play with it. And again, for those of you who are seated, gluing the hips to the floor, you're going to wrap the hand around that left knee and look around to your left. So any variation here, it's just a twist. When you're ready, if you were doing the side crow, you can stand, forward fold. And don't worry, for those of you who are seated, we're going to join you in a moment. And this is one thing that's great about this recording is that you can rewind and you could try it again. Okay, come to a seat, extend those legs out. You can shake those legs. And why don't we take a Baddha Konasana here? So band angle pose, soles of the feet together. Again, use that hand motion. I joke, grab your asana. Hands on ankles, lift your heart and exhale forward. You can walk your hands out and keep in mind that this pose is not about gluing the knees to the floor or getting your face to your feet. It's simply about releasing those muscles in your lower back without injuring them. So see if you could shake your head. I also often like to use a block right on top of my feet, and I can rest my head. And that way that takes all the pressure off. Nice. When you're ready, walk your hands under your shoulders, lift yourself up, knees together, and you're going to roll yourself down onto your back. So you can use hands, you can hold on to roll back, or no hands, one vertebra at a time. And we'll just neutralize that spine with a bridge pose. Walk your heels closer towards your buttocks. Maybe you could even brush the backs of your heels with your fingertips. Feet are parallel and hip width apart. On an exhale, press your heels into the floor and lift your hips up. Go ahead and slide your shoulder blades beneath you. Your hands could splay out to either side, palms facing up. If you want a little bit more, you could always interlace your fingers for a bind. Just walk those upper arm bones beneath you. Another alternative here is to use your block. So I like to turn mine sideways and slide it right under my sacrum. So the sacrum is halfway between your waist and your tailbone. And then, of course, if you have a little more room, you could go on the higher level. Right? Just make sure that it's right for you. And this is called Setu Bandhasana. So it's, a supported restorative pose instead of having to work to keep your hips up. For those of you who have full wheel in your practice, you can go ahead. And then to come out of the bridge, separate your hands if they were bound. You could remove the block. Separate your shoulders and roll yourself down one vertebra at a time. Good. Separate your feet wide to the outer edges of your mat and just windshield wipe your knees side to side, bringing your spine into neutral and coming into Shavasana. So feel free here if you want to take more time than I've allotted. You can always just stay in your Shavasana. The rule of thumb is for a 60-minute class, you'd like 10 minutes of final relaxation. So do what you can. You could do your final relaxation with your feet flat on the floor and then lower your knees towards each other to tent. So it would look like that. Right? And that just takes a little pressure off your lower back if it's talking to you. Alternatively, extend your legs out to a comfortable V, tuck your buttocks beneath you so that your knees and toes splay out to either side. Tuck your shoulder blades underneath you, allowing your arms to splay out to either side. And then tuck your chin towards your chest just to release any tension remaining in your lower back, in the back of your neck. Breathing in through the nose, breathing out through your nose. Taking this opportunity to let go. So we've used the inhalation to extend, expand. Now think of the inhalation as lightening you, like a balloon rising. And we've used the exhalation to deepen and to ground In this case, think of the exhalation as a way to release, to let go of something you no longer need. These breaths are effortless, right? It's kind of like that balloon just floating up and down. Or I like to think of the imagery of waves washing into shore. That's your inhalation. And waves washing out to sea. That's your exhalation. No effort. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, lightening. Breathing out, letting go. Breathing in, lighten. Breathing out, let go. Taking just another minute here to acknowledge yourself for your yoga practice today. Notice how you're feeling. At ease, peaceful, grounded, and know that you have all the tools to return to this place of equanimity and ease whenever you desire, through your asana, your yoga poses, through your pranayama, your breath control, through your dharana and dhyana, your focus, concentration, and meditation. When you're ready to come out of Shavasana, begin to breathe more deeply, remembering that Dirga Pranayam, inhaling first into your belly, then your rib cage, then your collarbones. Exhale, collarbones, rib cage, belly. 2 more big breaths like that. Deep into the belly, expand the rib cage, up to your collarbones. Exhaling, collarbones, rib cage, and belly. Begin to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. You could circle your hands, circle your feet, reverse direction. And then carefully roll everything over to a side lying child's pose, pausing here. And then using your hands to press you up to a comfortable seated pose. We'll finish our yoga practice by saying namaste to one another. Namaste simply means hello and goodbye, but it's also a blessing that means the light and the love in me recognizes and bows to the light and the love in each of you. Namaste.